And I mean, you can't be a captain and, face washing guys and licking guys and biting guys and cross checking guys. I mean, you can. Your name would be Jamie Benn, but that's besides the point.
Stick tock. 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 Hockey.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 65 of Stick Talk Hockey. As always, I'm your host, Tico, and this is my co-host.
I'm yours truly.
And the round one games are done. We just finished up, like minutes ago, just finished watching Dallas and Vegas finish up their game 7. Late one here on Sunday night, and it's done. Round 2 is set. We had game 1 this morning, which is a little peculiar.
I want to complain. God damn it.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit odd, but hey, here we are. Everything's wrapped up, and I mean, the biggest one is also the most non-shocking one, which is Toronto loses in 7 to the Boston Bruins.
Yeah. I hate being right.
I mean, hey, death taxes.
The Leafs losing in 7?
Leafs losing 7. I mean, between Drake and the Leafs, like Toronto, how you doing? How you doing?
It's a bad week. It's a bad week in the 6.
Are you as not ready as I am for the next 3 months of think pieces about is Matthews the problem?
No.
They win those 2 games without him and then bring him back. I mean, he looked like a shell of himself. He clearly is. Whatever he's actually dealing with, whatever that illness is, like, he didn't look good. They put him on the third line in sheltered minutes, and he just looked like he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it's a tough look, but he's, like, clearly hurt or sick. Like, it's
like there's something bad happening there for sure.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's really the first place you look.
Yeah, I agree.
I know it's the first place they will look, but honestly, like, again, it's the same things we've said all season. John Tavares is overpaid. He doesn't do enough. Like, how many times did Johnny T come through? Yeah. I know we're bashing on Marner a lot, and rightfully so. He didn't do enough either.
Yeah.
Nylander was the only true scorer who actually showed up and did his job at all.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I know we talked about the coaching last week, but really, I think that they just have to look deeper this year. I mean, every year it's like, well, they're going to take a hard look at what they got here, and then they're going to add, they want to add some grit, or they want to, whatever it is, just little things. And it's like, you guys really need to reevaluate why you pay these guys so much money and they cannot generate offense when the series gets tight.
Yeah, that's the issue, right? Because it's like, it's fine to be like, they're star players and they get paid that. But like at a certain point, are they and should they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I say yes. Like, guys don't produce like Matthews and Marner and Nylander without deserving the contracts. But there's a reason they can't produce.
Together, at least.
Yeah. And you got to find out what that is and fix it. That's what it comes down to. Because every year they're making these perimeter changes around the bottom 6 and bottom 4 defensive group and another nobody goalie they're going to try to rehabilitate. But it's like, you got to fix what's happening up top because you're not going to win without it. And maybe it's a coaching thing. Maybe it's a personnel thing. Maybe it's a culture thing. But it's got to get fixed.
I mean... And we talked about it last night because for a first round, incredible first round.
Yep.
We had high scoring games to start.
Yeah.
Super entertaining.
Yep.
But then we had true playoff hockey.
0-0s going into the third.
Yeah. Or 1-1s. Like just real nitty gritty, like overtime games at like 1 apiece,
Yeah.
And you just can't play that all the time.
Right.
Is like the thing. And how many low-scoring games did we see Toronto in?
Yeah.
Way too many.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how good the 1-2 tandem is in Boston. You got to figure out a way.
Yeah, that's the thing. I saw some people, out on the internet talking about Like, they put together a list of all the goalies Matthews has faced in the playoffs, and it was like, well, this guy was top 6 in Vezina award votes that year. And it's like,
So?
yeah, that's the playoffs.
That's how this works.
And that's why you have a 70 goal scorer in the playoffs, because you need to beat goalies like that.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's one thing to get goalied in a game.
Of course.
It's a whole other thing to get goalied for a whole series.
Yeah.
That reflects deeper into a system.
I suppose. It depends on how the goalie looks the whole playoffs. I think, like, a lot of round 1 questions tend to get answered in round 2, 3, and 4. Right? Like, because, like, sometimes you see, like Lundqvist in that Rangers run, right? You can blame some of the shooters for getting goalied in a game by Lundqvist, but you also can't really blame them for getting goalied in a whole series from Lundqvist, because he was just out of his mind the entire year, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking legendary goalies, then yeah, that's a conversation in itself. But
I think legendary runs in general, though, like Aiden Hill last year as well, was unbeatable.
But are we? And I would retract the statement if we go like 3 more rounds and Swayman carries them the entire way, posting a 9:20, 9:30. Like,
Exactly.
But as it stands right now, like, it's just inexcusable.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
You need to score more.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's next. There's going to be so much speculation about it all summer long, of course. But at the end of the day, it's for smarter hockey minds than me. Really. Or more tapped into that room.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in that room, you're definitely going to know what's going on. I would hope. I mean, it would appear they don't, or they're just too, high on their own medicine. But, like, and I don't want to bang on the same drum all the time, but, man, Reeves was just a liability.
Yeah, until they benched him.
Why have him?
Exactly. So, I don't know. Marner for Clayton Keller. Let's see it.
Yeah, they need a real gamer, and I think more than anything, the Leafs are the definition of window shopping. Sure, that thing looks great on a mannequin.
Mm-hmm.
Does it look good on you?
Yeah.
Did you walk into the store? Did you try it on?
Yeah.
You know?
I know. I don't envy Tree Living's situation, particularly because I don't think he has the capabilities to handle this situation. But also, I mean, the tough part is, right, if you want to deal Marner, it's really difficult, right? Because, first of all, he has an NMC. You got to get him to waive that. And second of all, you're not getting full value for him.
No. I don't think that Marner's necessarily like the move, though. I think first you find a coach.
I agree. You find a coach. Yeah.
Then you find a bigger guy for your blue line, but not like big in the sense that he's just like big and brooding like a Ryan Reeves fit.
Yeah.
Like just like a bigger guy, like a Ryan Graves type. A little bit.
But like with what money?
Well, I mean, you got to get rid of Tavares.
How? What team in this league is taking John Tavares?
You know, maybe a Utah team that needs some experience, has the cap, wants to drive the ticket sales, needs some jerseys to print.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Like
if you can find a way off that contract, I say you do it.
They're inheriting the players from Phoenix. They're not inheriting the cap issues or the LTIR.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know. It's not a situation I envy at all. I honestly I've spent a lot of years enjoying laughing at the Leafs, and I really do just feel bad, especially because Boston doesn't look like a world beater to me at all.
Yeah, and the real kicker here, more than anything, is that granted these games were low scoring and they went the distance.
Yeah,
for most of them.
Yeah.
But that's also kind of the problem, is the Leafs did everything I thought they needed to do to play a great game against Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Their shutdown guys were shutdown guys.
Well, I mean, like
sans the last play.
it's just it's at the end of the day. This was a 1-goal series.
And if you watch that
Game 7
replay,
overtime.
how many guys were just watching that puck drift in and not skating?
Yeah.
Yeah. Samsonov probably should have played it.
Sure.
Probably should have stopped it for the D that was swinging around. But also, it's coming in with heat. Pasternak's coming in with heat.
Yeah.
Why weren't you?
Yeah, totally.
Like, even Nylander had 2x4s tied to his legs. He was coasting.
Yeah. The vibes were bad off the hop. I mean, like, finding out Samsonov had to play, Wall was out. That was tough to see. It was tough to see after a couple great games from Wall that they won. And Samsonov played a great game, right? Like, honestly, you can't... If you lose a game where your goalie only let in 2 goals, you didn't lose because you're a goalie.
No.
Right?
No.
That's
that's kind of what I mean as far as, like, I'm not even really looking at, like, the goalie thing, because that was my biggest thing for Toronto at the beginning of the year. But, like, they had guys that stepped up and played way over their head.
Played well. Yeah, 100%.
That was one of the wild cards when we previewed the series, was Toronto needs to have their goalies play elite hockey.
Yeah. And they played well. I had no problem with the goaltending from Toronto, but it's just that they're a team that scores goals and then they get to the playoffs and they don't. That's really just as simple as it boils down to, and it's tough to see. I think if it were up to me, I agree with you. I think Sheldon should go this offseason.
Yeah, and I think they need someone who's actually useful in front of the net. I know we had the Zach Hyman conversation already.
Mm-hmm.
A Zach Hyman-like player.
Yeah, totally.
They don't have to be big. They don't have to be flashy.
If only they had one.
Or like a Connor Garland, you know? Like a hard-nosed, just dive in the play.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, if only they had one, you know, like a Michael Bunting or, you know.
Or a Zach Hyman.
Or a Zach Hyman.
Yeah.
Weird how these things come full circle.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, that one's in the books. I guess we can probably next year just like take this clip and play it again after round 1.
Save ourselves some work.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on though. Vancouver in 6. The Canucks, after this was like the weirdest series.
Yeah.
By a good margin, like really weird games where I felt like after game 1, pretty much every team that deserved to lose won until game 6.
Yeah.
You know, like I just felt like every game the team that got outplayed somehow won. And then obviously the goalie craziness. They play 3 goalies in a series. It's the first time in 20 years that's happened. The last time it happened, it was also the Canucks cycling through Dan Kluche, Alex Auld, and Jonas Hedberg. Just weird. And then like Artur Shilov's, the 23-year-old Latvian hero, comes in and they play him. He plays all right. They keep him in even when DeSmith gets back, and then you get to game 6 and this dude puts up a shutout in a closeout game in his 12th ever NHL game. Unreal stuff.
Iconic.
Unreal stuff. And I mean, a lot of that you got to thank Vancouver's defense for, which one of the Achilles heel of the Canucks for the past like decade has been that they've never been able to put a blue line together. And man, they looked good.
As long as they stay healthy and you're able to shelter the minutes, Cole has looked so good.
I know.
Everything that has not been swallowed up by the goalie right away, he's just batted out of there.
He's looked great. And I mean, Myers looked great, and Zadorov, I mean,
the guy, like literally the guy.
Yeah.
They must love him in that locker room because I love him from the coach.
Oh yeah. 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 It's crazy. It's crazy how much the playoffs can change perception immediately, right? And I think the general perception around Zadorov going into this series, well, like throughout this year since the Canucks traded for him, was, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, he helps us, but he's going to be too expensive to keep. And in a week, this entire market has flipped to do whatever you can to bring him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, If you can, you should, because he's taken to that team like glue.
Yeah. And he's just he's a unique like player build. You know what I mean? Like of that kind of big dude that can move the puck as well as he can.
He reminds me of like a power forward that was told to play D.
Yeah. Except like bigger than most power forwards even. Like he's massive and he throws his body around. And yeah, totally plays kind of like that.
Yeah, and he protects the crease too. Like that's the biggest thing I noticed too is in this series, it was probably the first series where you didn't get the shit bullied out of you in between every whistle.
Yeah. Really a peculiar series overall. I'm really happy. Obviously, the Canucks closed that out in 6 games, but this is one of those ones where I'm not really sure what to take out of it for Vancouver's next round.
Yeah, see, that's tough because you had backup goalies in as well.
You had backup goalies in, and the defense played well, quite well, but against a Philip Forsberg who also looked hurt. And like guys who I don't want to discredit them, but like we're talking about Ryan O'Reilly's when the next round has Connor McDavid's, right? So I'm not sure how that's going to hold, especially and I mean Shelov's is a low floor, high ceiling guy, right? Right now it's like he played great last game, he played great the last couple games. That's awesome. You want to keep running him, but he's also an inexperienced goalie, and as these games get higher pressure, you gotta at least wonder if he's gonna fold at some point.
Yeah, see, my biggest question mark is where's Demko? How long are we waiting on him? Is he coming back? Is he out for the season? Because there's a lot of variables and things that played into this series. Like it went 6, it felt 7.
Yeah.
It was a long series. It didn't play out how anyone really predicted it to, and every time you corrected your prediction, it would do the opposite again.
Yeah.
So, and also you're playing, like, granted, you're playing against a not so good forward group. They're not the best.
Yeah, I mean, like, Forsberg's fantastic, right? He had 50 goals this year, but he looked like something was bothering him that series.
Well, and he's playing next to a 34-year-old and Nyquist. And, again, Ryan O'Reilly. Like, these are not, like, lights-out superstar,
Yeah, totally.
blow the pants off your bookkeeper type players.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look at the defense, and you have some elite scorers back there.
Yeah.
Roman Josi was having a Norris season again.
Totally.
Like, when you factor all that in and then you look down the road, it's like, okay, well, the next best thing you're looking at is Evan Bouchard, who, he's good.
Sure.
He's having a great year.
Sure.
He doesn't strike fear in me the way Roman Josi does.
No, I'm sorry. That's one of my biggest, like, I feel like I'm being gaslit every time I see a Sportsnet article or an Athletic article about how good Evan Bouchard is. It just doesn't pass the eye test for me.
Same. I agree. I mean, it's the exact same way I felt about Darnell Nurse.
Yeah, 100%.
And they've given up on pushing those articles. So
yep.
Give it another
sure
year.
Have. So I mean, we'll get into what this means for Vancouver next. For Nashville, I think they're kind of a weird team. Like, I mean, they have a lot of dudes that are like older, either in or past their prime. Like, they're kind of in a mini window right now, but they're nowhere really near good enough either.
And the issue is, like, you can't really lean on this season and go forward and be like, yeah, we're going to just go for it. We're going to sign some guys. We're going to make another run.
Yeah.
Because, like, sure, you had some really great play.
Yeah.
But again, these guys are like 34 or 35.
That's exactly
this is
right?
the ride off into the sunset years.
Yeah.
Like, we're any day they could fall off a cliff.
This like, it only works like going into the next few years if you're Dallas, right? And you have super young talent on ELCs or second contracts coming into the league, right? When you have multi-year contracts for Ryan O'Reilly and Luke Shen and all of that, it gets tough. It gets tough. I don't really know what this means for Nashville, but I think they're going to be kind of in this competitive purgatory.
Competitive rebuild era.
Yeah, just like repeatedly kind of like this. So we'll see. Last thing, right before we move on here, get cooked, Jonesy. Okay. Dallas and Vegas just finished up tonight. The Dallas Stars hold on to a 2-1 win that they took, 44 seconds into the third period tonight. They come back from being down 2-0 when we were last here, and they win that 1-7. That was a great series.
Yeah, it was
a great series, and it's crazy to think that the last 2 times these teams have met, it's been in the third round. It's been Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
And now here we are. This is a first-round matchup. That's a crazy first-round matchup.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, aren't we privileged?
Yeah. Right?
What a blessing in disguise.
What a blessing it is. And, yeah, the Stars, they just completely switched the narrative up. It looked like they were kind of down and out. And they turn it around, go up 3-2. It gets tied, and they hold on at home. Great series. Vegas is going home after loading up like the frickin' Harlem Globetrotters.
I'm so happy.
What a sigh of relief.
This is one of those things where, like, I love being wrong.
Yeah.
I don't normally love being wrong,
Yeah.
but this felt good.
Today I love being wrong.
I believed in the boogeyman.
Yeah, right.
Looked under the bed and there was nothing there.
Oh, goodness. Just big series from the Dallas Stars, right? Ottinger played fantastic in that last game. Wyatt Johnston gets big goal for them.
Ben.
Yeah, big Jamie.
Might have had the series changing hit.
Yeah, that's very true.
That was that was catastrophic.
Yeah.
The way that he blew him up.
Yeah.
Was that Theodore that he took out?
I don't remember who it was.
Because he bowled through that guy.
Yeah.
And what a response after your like rookie player gets absolutely lit up,
Blown up, yeah.
Yeah, and not taking a penalty, huge momentum swing
For sure.
And
Yeah.
he looked great. He looked great too.
Yeah. Two heavyweights, right? Like either of these teams could win the cup. So crazy to see it come down to one goal in a game 7, as it kind of felt like it should be going into this series. It kind of felt like that's how this was going to go. And Stars are moving on. They're going to get the Colorado Avalanche.
That'll be a hell of a series.
Yeah.
We'll preview that in a little bit, but
Yeah, we'll preview all the series.
that'll be a banger.
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Honestly, I think the 2 things that play into this series the most are that the Stars had, which was the asterisk going in, their young players, their rookies,
Yeah.
play like they'd been there before.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
For both of them, too.
For sure.
Like, one is great.
Yep.
Both of them, get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, Stankoven looked fantastic. Wyatt Johnston, I mean, he played last year, but he's younger than Logan Stankoven.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wild.
Younger player, not a rookie, but still.
Yeah, it's wild.
And Robertson looked like he'd been there before.
He did.
I mean, he's been there before.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, that's the thing is, you want these young guys to
exactly
look like veterans in their ELCs,
this
or
is
in the beginning of their second years.
Right. This is the benefit of the only time the retool on the fly has ever worked. The benefit of being good while you have these young players, right?
Yes.
Is that by the time they're 22 to 24 years old, they have deep playoff experience already.
Yep.
It's huge.
That's my biggest fear for the Devils, honestly.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of first-round picks that haven't seen enough playoff time yet.
Sure. That's how I feel about the Canucks.
It's a bad look.
Yeah, 100%. Okay.
And Vegas just paid the price as far as like their goalie's goalied.
Yeah,
Their
Aiden Hill played
defensed.
Yep.
But you just keep adding things at the deadline. You don't gel.
Mm-hmm.
You can window shop and sticker shop and make it look as attractive as you want on paper, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
It takes time to build that chemistry up, and then you have multiple players joining the team with a couple months left in the season, and they're all trying to find their roles and how they fit in. And then you have like a captain who's not there for any of that and then joins in the playoffs, right?
and then everyone gets bumped and moved and shifted
Yeah.
around that, and it's like, well, okay, I just got used to being here.
Right.
Now what?
Yeah, now what?
You know?
So I mean like it's not like It's not like this isn't a what happened to Vegas moment, but
It's a very big what's going to happen at Vegas moment. They
totally.
spent a lot of money and they don't have a lot of room.
Yeah, they barely made the playoffs and they lost in the first round. I mean, you lost to the Stars, but still.
And a lot of the money they spent is long-term money, so some pieces got to go now.
Yeah.
They locked up Hanifin for 8.
Marsh, so he's out the door.
Oh, he's got to be.
It's a shame.
It's got to be with Hurdle coming in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Islanders and the Capitals.
The Islanders avoided it.
The Islanders avoided the sweep.
Just barely.
The Capitals get swept. Not a lot of drama in either of those series. Kind of unfortunate that the East played out kind of the way it did here. But it was pretty clear pretty quickly that they were both completely outclassed by the teams that are going to play each other now, the Hurricanes and the Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, what happened was exactly what we said would happen. It's a big I told you so moment, and, sorry for the fans. That absolutely blows, but hey, you got to see the playoffs.
Yeah. I think we both had the reverse. Like, I think we both had the Caps getting swept. Oh, wait, no, we both had the Islanders getting swept and the Caps in 5.
Yes.
And then the reverse happened.
Go figure.
I mean, we're going to get to see, obviously we'll preview Carolina and the Rangers next, but...
Yeah, do we even really need to talk about these teams?
No, we know what it is, right?
They're still rebuilding on the fly, retooling. The Islanders have been stuck in purgatory forever. They're going to stay stuck there. They have to make moves, bleep, bloop, blop.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2 teams that we knew weren't good enough against 2 of the top teams in the league.
Yeah.
That's really all it was.
Biggest footnote for the Caps is get another top 6 guy to stick next to Ovi because he's lost his mobility. You got to get someone quick, speedy, fast.
Yeah. So we'll breeze by that. Colorado, though, they closed out Winnipeg pretty easily.
Yeah. What a fall apart. What a collapse.
It was a collapse. Hellebuck saying it was the best play of his career with his .860 save percentage. That's... And look, I actually thought Hellebuck played well. It wasn't. I don't think it was Hellebuck's fault. I did not foresee Winnipeg's defense just deciding to completely disappear as soon as the playoffs started. However, it's really tough to post an .860 and say it was the best hockey of your career.
I'd be so mad if I was the defense right now. Like, sure, I didn't show up, but what did you do?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I read that statement and it's like, was bro at the games?
Yeah.
Were you high?
Yeah. I feel like this one is one of those ones where you might look at the standings going into the playoffs, and then you look at what happened with these scores, and you might think, oh, like Colorado, the juggernaut, is here. And they may be. Don't get me wrong. They may be.
They could be.
But I'm not convinced by this series.
No. I mean, the Jets, their defense didn't show up. No. Their forwards didn't really either. I mean, they did most of the time. But they did for the first little bit. But it's exactly what we said would happen. They didn't play their game. They tried to play Colorado's game.
It's over.
And that's it. You're toast.
Yeah.
They tried to do it in the first game, they did a damn good job of it.
They did.
Still,
it's not sustainable.
It's just not sustainable. You
not
can't.
When Colorado's got guys like that.
No, you can't score 6 or 7 a game every game and have that, and also have it be that close. Not sustainable. Not a way to win. And yeah, that's all I have on that. Is you got to have a team that's capable of playing their own game.
Yeah, it's another Canadian team eliminated, which is, obviously tough to see for the Great White North, but it was a very Winnipeg way to go out, sadly.
Yeah, and I mean, you should have known right away from the eye test.
I know.
It's one thing to go, we have very similar teams. Yeah. We're just going to play their game and do it better.
Yeah.
You don't have similar teams.
No, they definitely don't. Not at all.
Not even on the same strategy. Not even on the same continent.
No, I mean they're like really opposite teams, to be honestly. Like one team's got the star goalie that they rely on to help quite a bit. Colorado doesn't. Winnipeg's got the really deep winger group, which, like Colorado, like not to say that they're really shallow on the wings because they're not, but like that's not like a mark of their game. And then, I mean, Colorado's puck moving is just on the back end is miles ahead, right?
Oh, it's so good.
They have a Cale Makar.
And that's as much as I hate it,
Yeah.
and we've clowned the Kings a lot for it.
Yeah.
The 1-3-1, baby.
The 1-3-1.
Ride the trap. Ride the trap. You got to do it. And it would work for Winnipeg, too, because they have forwards fast enough and skilled enough to actually make the most of the opportunities they would get from it.
And hold it for that. Yeah, 100%.
But they didn't. They tried to just run and gun it, and...
Sorry. Good night. Colorado's on. And so, yeah, they're going to play Dallas, and that's another series that feels like it should be a Western Conference final, but we'll get into that.
What a treat.
Yeah.
It's a good year for playoffs. Like I said, we're getting a sample size of everything.
Yeah, 100%. Edmonton takes out LA in 5 games. That one, I mean, it's really crazy because it feels like every year LA plays Edmonton, LA's getting better as a team each time, but they're like getting further from winning the series.
Yeah, LA had a few bad bounces.
They did.
Didn't they lose twice in overtime as well? Or was it just once?
Definitely once. Yeah, just the once.
Yeah, overtime games, it's kind of like a coin flip. Anything can happen. And that's not to take away from a team. If you're rebuilding like LA is, we should still call it a rebuild. I mean, like
I don't think you can anymore. I think it's on.
It's a rebuild, a retool, a retool build.
Yeah, like I think the retool is finished now. They're going for it. Like they added PLD this year, right?
And that was a big oof.
Didn't go well.
It didn't
go well
pay
at all.
off. No.
Yeah, he was non-existent that entire series.
And that's kind of why I still think it's a retool, because they're still kind of mixing and matching what they want as their core, And now they're looking at buying out PLD, I've heard.
But I mean, like I think that the Kings are kind of an aggressive group like that. Like, I mean, like Vegas, when they went after Eichel, they weren't in a retool, and same with Carolina with Brett Burns. I see that as similar things where it's like distressed assets that are big names that are getting sold, right? They do kind of go to teams that are going for it, which is kind of what happened with PLD last offseason.
I mean, he's super young, though.
He is. Like, well,
it was
he's
more
not
just
that young.
He's 25.
Yeah, that's not that young, dude. That's almost at the end of the statistical prime.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. We saw Gustav Nyquist be a problem for the Canucks for 6 games, and he's 34. So, like,
I know.
I was a big subscriber in the whole age thing for a very long time.
Yeah.
I had one of the most successful fantasy hockey seasons ever. Mm-hmm. And it could have been like a contending season if I didn't look at age. Every player I released off of contract last year, because I was like, oh, they're 31, they're 32, they're about to hit their decline, stayed with it or played better than ever.
Right.
As much as, the stats would say and this and that, there's still a big place for older players in this league, and there's a big place for them to thrive, I don't really subscribe to that in the same way. Like,
well, I don't disagree with that at all. I still don't think I still don't think you can qualify like 25, 26 years old as super young.
No, I mean, it's not super young, but it's young enough where you can still like plan a window around it and not stress it all.
For sure.
Whereas like Kopitar, it's a totally different issue. That's like clock's ticking, add something.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's not a piece that they're looking to move, or is like, like that is part of their going for it now.
Yeah.
Retool.
Yeah.
PLD, I think, was what was supposed to be the final chip to their competitive retool, and it just didn't work.
Hasn't worked, yeah. Granted, though, I think that because he is 25, I think that there's probably a lot of teams out there that still see a lot of value in him. I think he's a movable asset. Even though he had a rough year, I think a lot of teams would look at that and think he had a rough year because of LA, not because he's trash.
Right.
No. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that like it's necessarily like, because he looked good in Winnipeg. Like, like they didn't pay Iafallo and
Viardi.
Thank you. And there's a third one as well,
There
wasn't
was,
there?
yeah.
whatever.
But like real assets.
Real tangible
Yeah.
win now pieces. Like I thought the Jets were brilliant for that trade, and they made out like bandits apparently, but you know, you can't predict the guy's going to fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
And some guys just do in their new scenarios.
That's true. And I mean, LA, you know, how much we've talked about it over and over again. They're kind of a suffocating organization. It doesn't really lend itself to, you know, with Kopitar and Philip Deneau, like a style that looks good if it's not working.
Yeah, exactly. And you just, is PLD really like the trap hockey player that like is gonna thrive there? Like,
doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, it's one thing to go out and just get a big name because you know it's gonna fix everything. But like, is it, you know, that would be like putting a Ferrari engine in a Porsche without any of the hookups. Like,
for sure.
Congratulations, you spent $200K on an engine or whatever they're worth. The car still won't run.
Yeah,
nothing connects. So like, yeah. You know?
All right. Let's move on to Tampa here. Wah, wah.
This is another boogeyman under the bed kind of thing for me.
Yeah, for real, right?
Their reputation did precede them.
Yeah, it did. And, I mean, some of those games were close. It didn't look like a 5-game series.
No.
But it was.
And, I mean, as much as I just said, you know, overtime 50-50 coin flips.
Yeah.
In this series, it kind of wasn't.
Well, yeah, totally.
This was one of those series where Tampa's guys who they rely on to get them through the games and win them the games are frickin' old, and they don't have the legs.
Yeah.
They don't have the legs for playoff hockey for 60+.
Yeah.
They got them for 60. We saw it.
We did. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those ones where it looked like Tampa definitely could have grabbed another game or two, but it was also just so clear that Florida was the better team.
Yeah.
They won at pretty much every junction. Really interesting to see Stamkos is addressing the moment in the crowd at the end there. Obviously, an interesting future for him here in the offseason.
Yeah. I really hope they do him right.
Me too.
Give that man a bag. It doesn't have to be a, you know, window-ruining bag.
Yeah.
I mean, respect him.
Like, they probably have 3 Hall of Famers on that team, 4 maybe.
Yeah.
And he's still probably the greatest Bolt of all time. So.
Yeah, I mean, you say amazing Bolt players, and I'm either going LeCavier or Stamkos.
Yeah, I'm going Stammer.
Or St. Louis.
Yeah.
Those 3.
And then add in Vass and Hedman.
And Kucherov.
Yeah, and Kuch, yeah. All right, so let's get into the second round here. We have Carolina and the Rangers up first. They played game 1 today. That was a Rangers win, 4-3. This one's going to be a really interesting series. This is the one where we talked about in our round 1 predictions that it's hard to learn a lot about either team from round 1 because they had such soft opponents. This is where we're going to learn a lot more.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That even showed its face today.
It did.
In the first game.
For sure it did.
I mean, the Canes looked a little better at 5-on-5.
Yep.
But the Rangers special team is better.
Yeah.
And that's my only asterisk to this is if the Canes can't stay out of the box, then this series is going to be done quick. And
totally.
If they can keep it to 5-on-5, I truly think coaching will come down to it. I look at both of these teams, and I don't know, if we were playing Guess Who, like, I couldn't tell you the difference.
Yeah.
Sure, the Rangers have Panarin, and he's probably a little bit sicker than anything else on the Canes lines. Maybe. I mean, Gensel's pretty close. He's pretty sick.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think everything's like close enough that you could debate it and it would negate itself out. It's really going to come down to that special teams and coaching battle.
I mean, the dangerous thing in the Rangers' favor here is that they've been struggling to get Zibanejad going all year. He's going right now.
Yeah.
Almost had a hat trick today.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah. So
again, power play though. Power play.
Power play. Exactly. Yeah. This one I'm taking Carolina in 7. I think that their 5-on-5 play is gonna take them there. That's really what it comes down to. Hopefully they can stay out of the box. Otherwise, this might not be true. But I think this is gonna be a long series either way.
Agreed.
Like
Agreed
it's a
entirely.
bit of a coin flip for me, but I'm never betting on the Rangers again. I can't stand them. I can't stand that I have to watch Mark Messier on ESPN. I can't stand that they made me look like a bozo last year. I'm sorry. It's over. So this one's a close one for me, but Carolina.
Yeah, same. Honestly, the exact same thing. I could say ditto.
Yeah.
Special teams all the way. I think Carolina's 5-on-5 takes them there in 7.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be a heavily goalied series like we saw with Toronto-Boston, where it's 2-1 all the time. I think we're going to see a lot of these 4-3 games like today, where it comes down to the wire. It's a nail biter. It's going to be good hockey.
Yeah, I agree.
Jay?
I'm going to roll with the Canes as well.
Canes as well.
Canes in 6.
Canes in 6.
I said 6 before the series started, so I'll stick with it.
Yeah.
Despite the outcome today.
For sure.
And it's pretty much everything that you guys just said. Like,
yeah,
they're going to have the better 5-on-5 play.
Yeah.
Rangers won today because they capitalized on the power play. And that does worry me.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. And also, like, Igor wasn't lights out today. No. Like, if he really gets on, yeah.
Yeah, like it's a tough series to call, this one. It's a sweep over here at Stick Talk. We're all taking Carolina.
Hell yeah.
Let's move on. Let's stay in the East here and do Florida Boston. Rematch of round 1 last year. Florida looks Florida-ish right now.
I got the biggest eating grin on my face for this matchup, dog.
Yep. I really want to see Pat Maroon cry a little bit. I feel as though, for myself, that last series for Boston did not convince me that they're the real deal. I was actually worried about Marchand, which I never have been before. I hate the guy, right? Like, everyone, I can't stand watching him play. But one of the things about Boston is that they never get rattled. They've always been in every single situation. They never have any problems. They're Marchand, no matter what's going on, any game situation, doesn't matter if it's game 13 or game 7 of the friggin' finals, he's being him. He's in your face. He's ratty. He's all of his things, right?
Yeah.
I thought he looked rattled in game 6 and 7 of the last series.
Yeah, I think Bertuzzi started getting to him a little bit, especially when the performance wasn't there. Marchand's been one of those guys where he's annoying because he's annoying, but he's good while he's being annoying.
Of course.
But when being annoying starts to become a deterrent to his own game, that's when he starts to have those, like, breakdowns,
But like it's been so rare that we've ever actually seen that happen to him in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that Bertuzzi is just better at being annoying than Marchand is, because Marchand's first objective is to score.
Yeah.
If he's being a nuisance and not scoring, it's a problem.
It is.
Bertuzzi's main prerogative is to be in front of the net and tap in the garbage.
Yeah.
And be annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think it's a little bit different for him this year. He's got the C.
And I mean there's no Patrice there.
Exactly. There's no one to let do the other stuff while he gets to just be him.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no one to, and I mean, you can't be a captain and, face washing guys and licking guys and biting guys and cross checking guys. I mean, you can, your name would be Jamie Benn, but that's besides the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, that blueprint hasn't worked well either. So.
Well, no, it hasn't to this point, right? So I don't know. I wasn't convinced. I really wasn't. I'm still not. They have fantastic goaltending. Obviously, Swayman looked good that whole series. He didn't look. I don't know. It was the Leafs who can't score, like we talked about, but he looked really good.
And I think that Tkachuk just goes demon mode. I think Reinhart goes demon mode.
Yeah.
This is a mean team.
It is.
And
it's a mean team, yeah.
Toronto is not a mean team.
No.
Toronto is a cuddly little teacup puppy dog team that you put in your purse and stroll around the mall.
Drake team.
Drake type beat. Leafs are a Drake type beat for sure.
Yeah.
BBL type beat.
Yeah, BBL Drizzy type beat. Yeah, look, I see my thing is that like even now into the playoffs, the Bruins are so mid in every category, as they have been all year. Like, they've been like a top team, but not like a top 5 team. And so it's like, except in PDO. And so it's like, I don't know that I think this is sustainable for a cup run. And I think that Bobrovsky has one more series in him of keeping this play up before he gets exhausted.
Yeah, I mean, this Bruins team reminds me almost exactly of the Canes team last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, you squeezed it out, but it's just eventually it's not going to be enough. And you didn't add enough. And the Canes last year relied on Martinook to be their hero all the time. They relied on that third line unit to be their heroes, which you shouldn't.
No.
Do you remember when EA had a hero line, quote unquote?
Yeah,
in the old games.
Yeah, yeah.
Third liners weren't on there.
No, they weren't.
No, they weren't.
I mean, Boston does have a Pasternak, which Carolina didn't. But
yes, I mean, yeah, they had talented scoring forwards, but neither here nor there. I just think that you can't rely on Charlie Coyle and Morgan Geekie and XYZ, all of these. Like, the reason that Boston won this series more than anything was that their bottom 6 outplayed Toronto's bottom 6, because Toronto's bottom 6 was more like a Toronto bottom 5.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when they shortened the bench, it was a Toronto bottom 3.
Right.
Whereas Boston still had access to the full bottom 6.
Yeah.
Realistically.
It's very fair.
I just don't see them with that edge in the series, though. They don't
neither.
have that.
Florida, they score as much, if not more. They're bigger, they're meaner. Their goalie's been playing just as well as Swayman.
And they play the same game.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Carolina doesn't have to,
No.
Florida, hot states, whatever, doesn't have to curtail their game to Boston at all.
Right.
And Boston, knowing how stubborn they are, they're not going to do anything to curtail the Panthers game either. They're just going to try and play their game straight up.
Yeah.
The same way they did with Toronto, and we're going to see really quickly who plays that game better.
100%. Like, we had the Islanders and the Hurricanes was a rematch from last year, right?
Right.
And what we said about that was it's the same matchup, except Carolina got better and the Islanders got worse. So why would we change the outcome? And this is the same thing, right? It's the same matchup from last year, but Boston's worse than last year. And Florida, I mean, maybe they're not better than last year, but they're not worse than last year.
I'd say they're better than last year. Because the thing about the Panthers that's so interesting is that they got better by addition, but they also just got better by getting better. Like, guys got better that you didn't expect. Reinhardt's a 50 goal scorer right now.
Yeah, I think like that. I completely agree with that. But they did lose Radko Gudas, who was a menace in both the Toronto and Boston series last year.
Yeah, but they got back in Brendan Montour, who was hurt for a large part of the playoffs.
Not
so
the same.
I mean,
he ain't Radko.
But he scores.
I know, but he ain't Radko.
I don't know. I would 100% take Brandon Montour over a Radko Gudas any day of the week.
I can't say I fully like disagree with that, but
like, monster trucks are cool, but I want the sports car.
But he terrorized those teams last time. Like, that's really what it is for me, is like in those two particular series, Boston and Toronto series, Gudas was a monster.
He was an absolute menace. I just think that all of like even though he's gone, that footprint in that team still exists.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think the Panthers culture is just too nasty.
It is. What do you got for this one?
I had the Bruins going to the third round, but I'm veering off my bracket now because I had them against the Bolts.
Yeah.
Given the situation, I'm going to take the Panthers in 6.
Yeah.
And it'll be a 6 that felt like 4.
Yeah. It's really tough because I was going to take that exact same thing. No, you know what? I'm going to. I'm not gonna veer off just to try and be unique and different. Who am I? What am I doing here? Come on. I think Panthers in 6 as well.
I'm actually just like you, Trill. I had the Bruins going to the third round in my original bracket,
Okay.
but they did not move me in that first round.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I did have them winning in 7.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
exactly what they did.
But still.
But they just didn't.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm going to take the Panthers in 5, though.
I like it.
Yeah, like, just thinking about it more, like, I don't think this will be very close. The last time I said that, the Jets let me down. So.
I mean, yeah, like, I do like that. I do like that take. I'd be more, my original thought when I was going to veer off from my 6 was I'd rather go Florida in 5 than Florida in 7.
Yep.
But I still think it'll be Florida in 6.
Yeah, I think Boston's going to squeak out like 1 or 2 real cheesy, garbagey, you know. They're too good not to, but they're also not good enough to overcome.
No, I think this will be a good series. But I think at the end of it, we'll look back at it going, oh, yeah, Florida was clearly the better team, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
Another sweep.
Honestly, just like the Florida Tampa series.
Yeah, fair enough. Just like the Florida Tampa series, fair enough.
Exactly.
Let's move out to the West, Colorado and Dallas.
It's always better in the West, eh?
A couple teams left in the Central. These 2 series are going to be heaters. Colorado. Is this a rematch from any? Well, not from last year, obviously. From the bubble, right? From the bubble, indeed. I mean, Colorado made light work of the Jets. We talked about that. They look menacing. Vegas looked really good, but not as good as Dallas, apparently. Dallas, 2 of the Cup favorites right here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Colorado looked a little bit better than Dallas just in the way that they handled their business, and Dallas kind of struggled to stay on the same page for a little bit when
that's
Vegas gave them turmoil.
I agree with that. I will say, though, I think that, you know, Dallas's competition was much more substantial than Colorado's was.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Well,
and coming back from being down 2-0 in a series, I think they're humming right now.
I don't know, because I kind of feel like the Jets would beat the Knights in a series, if I'm being frank. I'm not frank, but if I was going to be frank. I think that, like, Colorado, when they've met adversity with the Jets, they had this air about them, and the way they played and stuck to their their guns. They would go down by 2, and they went, "That's fine." Because we're good. We can play our game, and we're still in this.
That's fair.
When Dallas veered off their page a little bit and lost their stride, and were down by 1, down by 2. They had this look like the earth had fallen out from under them.
That's fair.
And instead of going, "That's okay, one of us will get it," there was this look of, "Okay, who's going to get it?
Yeah.
Are you going to get it? Because I don't think I'm going to get it. Are you? Who's going to be the hero here?" Whereas Colorado has this poise.
Yeah. I think for myself, I think that Colorado's depth looked better than it should have against Winnipeg, and I think that won't hold up against Dallas, who is incredibly deep up front.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah.
As much as I agree with the bottom end not matching up, I could say the same thing about the top 6, though.
Yeah.
I look at Colorado and I see a much more dependable captain. I see a much more game-ready captain.
That's true.
I see a captain that's probably a lot less injury-prone.
Yep.
And someone who's going to cost you a lot
Nate
more. McKinnon, Makar.
Yep.
Nichushkin's back.
Yeah.
He's playing nasty.
He's playing great.
I mean, who cares if Miles Wood and Zach Parise don't produce?
Well, I mean, but they will if you're matching up against Logan Stankov and Wyatt Johnston every time they're on the ice and they're getting dominated in those minutes, you know?
Yeah, that's true, but
those are third liners.
Yeah.
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 This one's a tough one too, right? This is a really tough series to call. But for me, can I give my take on it?
Yeah. What do you have for this?
I got Dallas in 7. I think I'm sticking with my bracket on this one. One of the things I believe, Georgiev is one of the worst, most worked goalies in the league. I think at some point that's going to come back to bite them. Maybe it's here, maybe it's not, but maybe it is. And yeah, I just think that Dallas has a really big group that can make Colorado feel some pain, and that bottom 6.
It's hard to make Colorado look small too.
Yeah,
Like, that's a speedy big group.
yeah, 100%. I mean, we just looked up today. Jason Robertson, that dude's 6'3" and 205 pounds.
Ooh, really?
Yeah,
He doesn't look that big.
I know.
I didn't think he was.
Yeah,
Jesus. Yeah, it's going to be a really, really close series, especially if Robertson can keep it going.
yeah,
The problem is that Robertson kind of has to keep it going for the absence that like Jamie Benn is.
yeah. That's fair.
I'm going to go Colorado in 6.
Yep.
Sticking with my bracket.
I like it.
I think that it's going to be really, really close.
Yeah,
I just think that as the game ticks on and as because it's going to be close, I imagine it'll be, 3-3, 2-2 kind of games.
yeah,
And I think it's going to look a lot like the Tampa series where Dallas is just going to have those guys that don't have the step.
that's fair.
And if
That's
you're
fair.
if you lean on Sagan and Ben and you're in minute 65, 67, you've already shrunk the bench.
Yeah.
Are you going to go back to the guys who are cold?
Right.
Like the third or fourth line?
Right.
How are you going to divvy out those minutes and actually make an impact still?
Yeah.
Or are you going to be able to make an impact?
Yeah, that's fair.
So I got Colorado in 6 because they're just going to go the distance in overtime and the third.
All right.
Jay?
Jay, what you got?
I gotta disagree with a lot of what Trill just said. I got the Stars in 6 pretty easily. They kind of, frankly, they were like easily the better team against Vegas for a very good majority of that series.
I agree with that.
I think that one thing I overlooked when the Jets and Avs played is that the Jets D,
Yeah.
they're pretty slow and
Womp.
they don't move the puck like that.
Mm-mm.
I feel like Heiskanen and Harley, like I think they could keep up with McKinnon.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that the Avs' depth will get tested again this series
Yeah.
because I do love the Stars for that. And like you said, Georgiev, the inevitable downfall
The inevitable
will be
downfall.
starting soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the Stars in 6.
I like it.
The footnote in this, again, much like the Rangers series, special teams.
Yeah.
I just think that Colorado has a much more capable and dependable special teams unit. They pick teams apart, and they have so many disgustingly nasty true goal scorers on both units.
Yep, that's fair.
We haven't even, we've been talking about their depth for 5 minutes, and we still haven't even talked about Artturi Lehkonen.
Yeah.
And he's been playing insane.
Yeah,
he played great.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Getting down to the last one here. We have the final 2 Canadian teams, Edmonton and Vancouver.
cries maple syrup tears.
I mean, hey, you can look at it one way as one of these teams got to go. You can also look at it as we're guaranteed a Canadian team in the Final 4.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yep, that's nice. This is going to be a really interesting series to call. I mean, the Oilers are pretty hands-on favorites right now. They walked through LA. Their offense is just looking dominant. I mean, interestingly, they're not in the top 5 in high danger chances for. But they just make the most of them, right? Is really what it comes down to. And they only played 5 games. Yeah, that's fair.
His name is Zach Hyman.
Yeah, he had a hat trick.
That's their high danger chances.
That's their high. Yeah, he's a walking high danger chance.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one to call, right? Because Vancouver's defense looked really good, but you're playing against Connor McDavid with the third string goalie. Oh boy.
That's the scary part, right? I mean the depth. If you get that mismatch,
yeah,
this could go downhill so fast.
It could.
If you don't get Hughes out there ASAP,
yeah.
Yeesh.
Yeah, like that's just it, right? I mean, the goalie advantage is a big one, even though Skinner is, it's still you have a third stringer against Connor McDavid, and then the mismatch could be a big problem. I mean, the upsides for Vancouver is they have the better D group, I think.
I'd say they have the better bottom six too.
Yes, I agree, but I think they have to play a little bit better.
Oh, for sure. That's without question.
And this series can really change for me if Elias Pettersson gets going.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is if they play the way they played against Nashville, wrap it up. Yeah. This is done. If they play like that, Oilers in 5.
Sure.
Easy, done, wrapped.
But I think that was I think it was a weird series, and I think they will play better than they did against Nashville.
I agree.
So I'm not ready to call that a quick series. It's going to be a crazy one, though. I'll tell you. I mean, Vancouver fans and Edmonton fans are rabid, and this series could get real crazy real quick.
Oh, I think it's going to be an absolute banger, like just a gong show and a half.
Yeah. I need, please, Elias Pettersson, score some dang goals, bro. Please, I'm begging you.
See, like, that's also a big concern for me is too many times I've been like, I think this guy's going to turn it on. Yeah. And then they don't.
Yeah.
Much like the Leafs fans. Sorry, guys. Don't
mean
to rub it in.
For sure.
But that makes me really nervous, is if he's able to actually become a gamer.
See, it makes me nervous for right now. My question is, can he turn it around like right now as we're in the playoffs, right? Because that's hard to do. I have no, like, I've been seeing some comments, he's Vancouver's Mitch Marner, and I disagree with that.
Yeah, that's false.
I completely disagree with that. I think if you look back at Elias Pettersson's career so far, you look at how he performed in the bubble. He was over a point per game in the bubble. He was unbelievable that entire playoff run. And I know that it's not the show, but when right before he came to the NHL, he won the championship in the SHL and won playoff MVP in that. Like, this guy shows up for big games every time he's had to in his career so far. So I think he absolutely has the ability to be a playoff gamer. It's just, can he turn it around right now? Not in 2 weeks, like right now, dude.
Well, and I get the whole, like, you want to be stoic. You don't want to show too much, like,
yeah,
especially with like the role models that the Sedins were.
Yeah.
And how they commanded that team.
Yep.
There's an expectation on him, even if it's been unspoken.
Sure.
That's the type of player he's ideally going to turn out to be.
Right.
And I don't think it's going to be conducive to success. I think that when we saw him at his best earlier this year, he looked like he had a little bit of that JT Miller in him. He had that
chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, that dog in him. That kind of like, as soon as someone pushed him, he was spinning around looking for who pushed him.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, he got pushed a bunch, and he was head down, shoulders slumped, kind of like dragging his stick, looking away.
I actually thought he looked much better in that regard. I thought he looked much more alive in the last 2 games of that series, Game 5 and 6. He was throwing his body around. He was getting a little chippy again. He was looking very animated. Early in the series, that's exactly how he was. You're 100% right. It's just, can the production come with it now?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think it will. I think that if he keeps with that and has that anger, that chip on his shoulder to be the fuel, he'll be more than fine.
Yeah.
But he has to be a commanding presence, and he hasn't been one yet.
Right. Yeah. This is such a tough one. I mean, it's my favorite team. I had them in the bracket. I'm gonna take the Canucks in 6.
Fair. I mean, I would be mad if you didn't.
Yeah.
What kind of a fan are you?
Yeah, I think that there's enough here for me where I can look at and go, okay, not only do they have the better D group, but they have a Quinn Hughes, and Edmonton doesn't, right? I think that Archer Shelovs, to this point in his career, has shown up every time he's had to, and I think that he can outperform Stuart Skinner. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are going to be massive problems. But the Canucks went 4-0 against them in the regular season. Canucks in 6.
I like it. And you just highlighted something I meant to, but I totally forgot about. I would always sooner, if we look back at like playoff history with Binnington, Matt Murray, Tristan Jarry, we could keep going.
Yeah.
Young goalies that have something to prove, Aiden Hill, Logan Thompson, we could keep going.
Yeah.
They perform for some godforsaken reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but when those chips are in and they know that if they let in 3, they're not coming back the next game, they don't.
Yeah.
They haven't.
Yeah.
And ride the hot goalie. Where you look across the ice, you got Stuart Skinner kind of bouncing back after a tough year, but he let in some questionable goals in the first round. The reason LA had so many great chances was because some of those goals shouldn't have gone in.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have.
But for sure.
Point blank.
For sure.
And what do you have beyond that? Terror.
Yeah, terror.
That's what you have. You have
just pain and fear.
You have $5 million being a gatekeeper in the AHL.
Yeah, hanging out in Bakersfield.
Yeah, a can of soup.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, yeah, I just for that reason alone give the Canucks the edge.
No.
Because I believe that Seelovs could easily keep this going where I could see Skinner falling off a cliff any day.
It's a volatile series.
And the Canucks have proven that should Seelovs fall off a cliff, they can still play in front of DeSmith.
Yes.
This is a team that believes in themselves wholeheartedly no matter what the goaltending situation is.
Yeah.
And I don't feel the same way across the ice either.
It's fair.
I say Canucks in 6 as well.
Let's go.
But I got it being a long series, and it's going to be a banger, but I truly believe that at the end of the day, that goaltending situation, we haven't talked about it enough this year, and it's been the full encompassing playoffs.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the playoffs without talking about a goaltending duel.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't seen it. It's going to happen.
I like it.
Jay?
Haterade. I'm ready. I'm ready already.
I will be taking the Oilers in 6. Nah, but like, first of all, I'd like to officially state an apology to Nikita Zadorov.
Yeah, that's well deserved.
That guy balled out.
It's well deserved.
He was not the pylon that I thought he was. Mm-hmm. However, I'm gonna learn from my Jets thing, where like I said that McKinnon and Rantanen and Makar, like all those fast ass guys, against that slow D core of Winnipeg, like they cooked.
Yeah.
And I really fear that that's going to be the same thing here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Honestly, the goaltending, I'm not really giving an advantage either way. I think they could both be shaky.
Yeah.
They could both be good. I do want the Canucks to win this time, though. I'm not a full-on hater. Like I'm not. Yeah, but
no, you're still a hater, but that's okay.
Maybe.
No, you know what though? I respect it. Like at least this time you're not just running off vibes. I can feel it. You know, with Edmonton, that's fair.
You know, I'm gonna be real though. I feel like the Canucks, they're gonna generate more offense against Edmonton than they did Nashville.
Yeah. And
I'm gonna say like I'm gonna stand on business. Like Nashville they played.
That almost.
It wasn't like yeah.
It almost went 7, and that could have gone either way, for sure.
Yeah. My boy Saros didn't really
no.
He didn't ball out like I wanted him to.
I'm looking at both you Nashville lovers. It's over.
I'll be back next year. Believe that.
All right.
I didn't take Nashville. I just said that we should respect them.
I know.
And by all accounts, we should. Cause
I mean, going into the playoffs, though, like before the matchups were set, Y'all were riding Nashville. I remember. I
Oh,
remember.
yeah. But then I saw they drew the Canucks, and I was like, oh, it's
It's
over.
over, yeah.
Forget about that.
Valid.
But to be fair, I don't know how you watched Game 6 because
Yeah.
I was nervous.
Oh yeah. I mean, I felt like I was gonna throw up the entire night.
I turned it off.
Yeah.
I went and had a nap. I also had a hockey game that night, though, so
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
excuse. I had a 10 o'clock puck drop.
Are you telling me the Canucks put you to sleep right now? Anyways.
No, listening to Kelly Rudy in the 40-minute report was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I did forget something as well.
'Kay.
I give the Canucks a 5-on-5 play.
All right.
The speed, it's great and all.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that Edmonton's going to be able to move north to south.
Yeah.
The way that they were in LA.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, round 2 underway. Everyone, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's going to be a blast. There's some great series ahead of us here. And we'll be back in a week to talk about all of it. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll be something.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that's it. Do you got anything else?
Nope. No, I got nothing else.
Beautiful. Let's get out of here. As always, I'm Tico.
I'm yours truly.
Keep your dang head up.
Keep your head up. Boom.
Stick talk. Stick talk.